Well, President Trump seems to be riding a major wave of momentum these past couple of weeks as his administration scores big agenda wins. He signed his landmark Big Beautiful Bill at the White House yesterday during an Independence Day celebration. Our Lucas Tomlinson is live in Bedminster, New Jersey, traveling with the president. Lucas.
John, President Trump continues to monitor the situation in Texas, and as Mike mentioned, has dispatched his Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to be on the scene to help monitor the situation, report back to the White House and run things down there. And last night aboard Air Force One, President Trump taking a victory lap of sorts, telling reporters on board about his accomplishments over the past few weeks, and made some news saying he's going to fire off a dozen letters to countries he did not name to introduce new tariffs. He didn't name those countries. He said some of those tariffs could be as high as 70% and could go into effect early next month. The president also talked about why he prefers the written word to make this news.
I think that letters are better for us. I've said that all along because you have hundreds of countries. You know, you have over 200 countries, and you can't sit down with 200 countries. I think the letters are better.
Now, yesterday, a joyous occasion at the White House to celebrate Independence Day. President Trump throwing a big party on the South Lawn with military families, including those who flew these two B-2 stealth bombers under fighter escort. As you can see, all part of the strike package that flew that daring 37-hour round-trip mission from Missouri to destroy Iran's nuclear sites. The president and first lady watched the flyover from the South Portico. And then the president moved down to the South Lawn to sign that big, beautiful bill into law to keep tax cuts permanent, no taxes on tips or overtime, which, John, some of our colleagues would appreciate, and add needed funding to the U.S. military and complete the border wall. President Trump spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky late this week. I asked the president aboard Air Force One the following question.
Mr. President, Putin has not agreed to a ceasefire. Do you think he's mocking you?
No, I don't think he is. I think he's worried about sanctions. I do think he's very worried about sanctions. And, you know, we're determining that the Senate, as you know, has put in big sanctions, very big sanctions.
Now, hours after President Trump spoke to Putin, Russia launched its largest attack on Ukraine's capital of the war since the launch of the full-scale invasion. President Trump also provided a new intelligence assessment on the strikes on Iran's nuclear facility. Said he thinks they've been set back permanently, although he did say Iran, if they wanted to start their nuclear program again, would have to shift locations. And the president, of course, continues to monitor that situation down in Texas. John, the Houston Texans have donated $500,000 to help those first responders and families in need, John.
Yeah, and they're going to need more, I'm sure, but that's a very nice gesture. Lucas Tomlinson. Lucas, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.